I'm Karl Konrad and welcome to Australian Immigration News, proudly brought to you by Australian Immigration Law Services right here in the heart of Sydney. Remember, there are many law changes heading this way, so make sure you don't miss them by subscribing to this channel. We have a few things to cover tonight, so let's get straight into it. The Northern Territory Government announced this week that it has opened its doors to 491 visa sponsorship applications. Given the recent restrictions on sponsorship allocations, there have been changes to the eligibility criteria to reduce potential applicants. Firstly, for those who have studied for 2 years in the Northern Territory and obtained their 485 graduate visa. Unfortunately, you will only be able to apply if your 485 visa expires after the 30th of June 2024. This change is obviously designed to give priority to those who hold the graduate visa and their time is limited. That's fair enough, but disappointing for many who still have to wait until next financial year to get a shot at state sponsorship. The next change is for those living and working in the Northern Territory for 12 months and have worked in your nominated occupation for at least 6 months. The Northern Territory will now only be open to those in this critical sector list: health, aged and disability care, education and childcare, and hospitality. And the last major change is for those who are offshore. The occupation lists are now limited to just 54, with many being on the critical sector areas, but not all. Now this last one seems a little odd to me. Well, actually, more than a little odd. These limited sponsorship places are precious commodities. Why would you give a state nomination place to someone who has never worked in the Northern Territory over someone who is already there and working in their nominated occupation? Let's take carpenters, for example, for they are one of those 54 occupations, but they are not in a listed critical sector. I need to break it to those offshore applicants, but working outdoors in the building trade in the Northern Territory is brutal. Why would you choose a carpenter who has never experienced the Northern Territory heat and also its unique working culture over someone who has proven that they are working in the territory, coping with the environment and already contributing to the region? They are out there sweating away, literally, looking to be recognized and apply for sponsorship. There are carpenters out there in the Northern Territory already building those much needed houses Australians are complaining we don't have enough of, but they cannot apply. I mean, really, where is the sense in that? And where is the justice in such an approach? Those on temporary visas deserve recognition and reward first, or at least be given equal opportunities compared to offshore applicants. If you run out of onshore carpenters to sponsor, then yes, sure, look to outside of Australia, but don't overlook those who are already here and trying their best to get noticed and sponsored. Trades Recognition Australia updated its processing times for the Job Ready program skill assessment. As usual these days, they stress they have been receiving a high number of applications and processing times are currently longer than expected. The Job Ready program system is used by international students in Australia after they complete their trade courses so they can obtain their skill assessments to access the points-tested visa system. It's important to note that after they complete their courses, they only have access to the 18 months graduate visa. This means only 18 months to gain their assessment, then put up their expression of interest for the 189, 190 or 491 visas, and then obtain an invitation to apply, all before their visas expire. You can see by the TRA's own conservative estimates here, by the time you take the following steps: register your Job Ready employment application, which can take 6 months, then apply for your Job Ready employment assessment, which can take another 5 months, then the Job Ready final assessment, which can take another 1.5 months, then wait for your final assessment and your skill assessment outcome, which can take another 2.5 months. The whole process will take, if you're lucky, about 15 months. This would give you just 3 months to be able to stay in Australia and receive your invitation to apply for a permanent or temporary resident visa. It creates an absurd outcome and pressure on those who commit to this long process. Remember, it takes them about 2 years to go through their courses, then the skill assessment process. You have lost nearly 4 years of your life by the time you are ready. Clearly, the old 18-month duration of the graduate visa is now completely out of date. Better still, ditch this crazy skill assessment altogether and simply rely on the high-quality Australian qualification, which is supposed to be of such an internationally recognised standard. Isn't that why students choose to come to Australia in the first place? Engineers Australia has launched its own migrant work placement program called the Queensland Global Engineering Talent Program, they called GET. According to their media release on Friday, the GET program will include a 6-week prep course through Engineering Education Australia with engineering standards specific training and a 12-week paid internship at an engineering firm. To be eligible for the program, you must be residing in Australia and have a visa that has full-time work permission. There is an expression of interest form to complete to join the program, but no indication of how many people will be selected or indeed if there is any charge to join it. However, if there was a fee involved, I'm sure they would have disclosed it in the news release. The Immigration Department released an update to the administration of the immigration and citizenship programs. The highlights reported in the Australian media this week were of course the massive rise in overseas student numbers, which has now well surpassed pre-pandemic levels according to this graph. Last financial year we had over 650,000 international students arrive. In an effort to try and reduce these skyrocketing numbers, it would seem that refusing student visas is the only way to keep things under control. So when those generic refusal notifications are given out, it's probably not that you deserve to be refused, you are just collateral damage in the only way the department can slam on the brakes. A near record number of working holiday makers flooded in as well. Interestingly, these temporary workers the country seems to be crying out for have a very low refusal rate compared to pre-pandemic years. Another interesting fact in the updates was the publishing of the top 15 in-demand occupations for the employer-sponsored temporary shortage 482 visas. Software engineers, chefs and ICT business analysts seem to be more in demand than doctors. And motor mechanics are right up there too, along with their diesel counterparts. It seems that accountants are at least having some luck for a visa outcome through the 482 visa. Now, in relation to the announcement most short-term 482 visa holders have been waiting for, being able to apply for PR through their employer, there is still no word when this will be announced. In all fairness, the PM did say before Christmas, so there's still a little time to go. Western Australia has released its figures for the 14th of October invitation round. You can see here that 2,501 invitations were issued, bringing the total so far to 2,988, including the small August invitation round. At this rate, it won't be long before WA reaches its allocation quota for this financial year. Perhaps they know something we don't about any additional allocations to be handed out to them later on. Unfortunately, from the Western Australia website, we cannot tell which occupations were selected, but they do give a good indication of the number of points required under the different eligibility streams. You can check out those details yourself by going to the WA website, and we'll leave a link to their page in this video description. You will remember that recently we spoke to Alex and the demonstration he organised regarding the delays in offshore 309 partner visa processing times. Well, that demonstration went well, within earshot of Federal Parliament House. Let's take a listen to some of what he had to say.
Minister changes the way the case officers overseas deal with the pending applications and request them to be more transparent when processing applications. Now, can you please bring my wife that I dearly love to Australia so we can continue our journey together? You wasted 43 months of our lives and I will not waste another day more. Please bring her home to me by granting her the 309 visa, and all my friends that are with me here as well, they have partners overseas and as well. Their partners, 21 months. We've got 44 months here. We've got 10 months. We've got 20 months. You know, they're all suffering as well like I am. And, you know, and it's just very hard on us, you know, anxiety and depression. I thank you all for listening to me and I appreciate it. Yeah. Up to refugees! Up to Home Affairs partner visas! Thank you.
It really is just a crime to keep people from their partners for nearly 4 years. It demonstrates we have an immigration department devoid of any compassion and understanding. And the very worst of it is they have been giving priority to recent partner applications and left those old ones just to rot in time. It really is heartbreaking and a disgrace. But again, they get away with it because fundamentally the department is unaccountable to the Australian public, and certainly this needs to change. And for that to happen, we need more people like Alex and all who supported that rally to keep the department honest and fair in the way they are dealing with visa applications. Well, that's all for another jam-packed week of Australian immigration news. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on any of the updates that are happening on a daily basis at the moment. If you need some advice and assistance, then we are always here to help. Book a consultation by going online to our website, but if you cannot find a spot as quick as you like, call the office and speak to our two delightful receptionists, Pat and Hay, and they will try and fit you in earlier. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time, so bye for now.